Hello, everybody. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Behavior dropped a pretty spicy update on us today, didn't they? I know pretty much everybody has already made a video on this, but I'm gonna go ahead and give my 2 cents because I'm the main character and everybody cares what I think, right? So, we're gonna go ahead and just jump into this, and I feel like, honestly, I don't really know how I feel about this update yet. I'm gonna go ahead and just go through each part one at a time and give my thoughts. So the first one is on the new mechanic called Last Standing. So when all other survivors are dead, dying, hooked, or have escaped, you become the last standing. So your teammates, either they're out of the game because they're dead, they're on a hook, or they've already escaped, but you're still standing, then you become last standing, I guess is what they're calling it. So you and the killer's senses are heightened, and it gives you a wider FOV. So I'm assuming something like Shadowborn. I'm curious to see how that's going to look on Survivor. But then if you rescue, someone from a hook or pick somebody up, then it ends the last standing phase. But when you're downed as the last survivor, it will trigger the finishing Mori. So if you're the last person and you go down, the game is essentially over. The trial will draw to a close, and everybody who is on a hook or on the ground will be killed, and it'll be treated like a sacrifice, and the last person to go down, it'll be given a Mori. So they've already talked about incorporating this new Mori system into the game instead of using the offerings, which makes sense because they've made all these animations, and I guess they want them to be shown off more, so they want it to be incorporated into the base game, so I understand that, but I don't know, like, it's fun being able to, bring a Mori all for survivors, or try and use Rancor and, do the Rancor challenge a bunch of people have done, and, Rancor everybody in the end game, and now you're not going to be able to do that because any perks that have Moris are going to be changed, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but I don't know, it's kind of a bummer. I just feel like it's unnecessary. Like say you want to down the last person and give them hatch. Now you can't do that. Like, I don't know who wants this change. I don't know who this is for. I don't necessarily think it's good or bad. I just don't get it. Maybe it'll be cool, I mean, it's definitely going to affect speedruns since you don't have to carry people to a hook anymore. But I don't know. It's gonna be hard to say anything about this until we actually get to play with it on the PTB. But again, I feel like it's kind of unnecessary, but maybe it'll be cool. I'm hoping it'll be cool. It might be interesting. So the next new mechanic, this is the one that's got people all up in a tizzy. So it's called Hope is Not Lost. So this new system, when you slug survivors and leave them on the ground, survivors are able to get themselves back up off the ground after 45 seconds. So they have built Unbreakable into Basekit Survivor play, which is a huge deal. Like, this is insane. First we got Basekit borrowed time, now we have Basekit slugging on the ground, which is nice for solo queue. It's really nice for if a killer is trying to be toxic and just slug somebody out, let them crawl all the way to the end of the exit gate, then pick them up and carry them to a hook. But it's also pretty scary, I guess, with some of the upcoming perk changes, right? If you have, 4 Unbreakables, which you can see down here, Unbreakable now increases self-recovery in the dying state by 80, 90, 100%. So that would be roughly like 22 seconds, I believe, for survivors to get themselves off the ground instead of the 45. So, I don't know. Otts honestly made a really good video, I don't know, like a week or two ago about how hard it is to predict things within a game nowadays. Like, now hyper-focus is in the game. Is a gen gonna take 45 seconds or is a gen gonna take 90 seconds? We don't know. And I feel like that's what applies to this, because slugging is a really good way for a killer to get pressure, and some killers need slugging, such as like Oni or Twins or something like that, because, Twins, you down somebody across the map, you have to walk all the way over and pick them up. Oni, if he's in his power, if you pick somebody up, he loses his power, so it's good for him to slug. But if everybody brings an anti-slugging build, it's going to be detrimental to some specific killers. Now, it's also going to be really nice against, a insanely sweaty, starstruck nurse, for example. So I understand it. I just wish the discrepancy between killers wasn't so much. I don't know. I'm hoping they maybe just like nerf some of the perks and don't make the difference between having Unbreakable and not being such a big deal. Because honestly, 45 seconds, if someone is slugged for that long, I feel like that's fine. That's enough pressure. Someone's probably going to come pick them up before that anyway because they want them to come get on a gen. But that's still some person, like a survivor not in the game while they're on the ground, right? So they're not able to, do gens. And I mean, I don't know. It's so hard to say, right? Because, I can imagine, a squad where they bring, Sabo plays and stuff like that, so that way a killer has to drop, and then they all have Unbreakable, but you can't hook a survivor because everybody's Saboed, the closest hook. They all go down in the corner. You can't carry someone to a close hook, so everybody just constantly gets slugged. But unlike Unbreakable, or the way it used to be, there was only one use. Or if they brought Boon Exponential, like there's plenty of videos of people who put Boon Exponential like down in the bottom of bad in preschool and then constantly get slugged and pick themselves up over and over again. But you could stomp that out and you could prevent them from getting back up on their feet. But now I worry it's going to be extremely frustrating going against some specific types of survivors. But again, I mean, like they said, they're probably going to make changes on this based on the feedback they get on the PTB, so I highly encourage anyone who can play on the PTB, go ahead and mess around with this stuff as much as you can, see if you can break the game with it. I'm hopefully going to be able to, get a squad together, and we're going to do some testing when this comes out, just to see how bad it can be for killer. So yeah, I mean, other than that, the other changes all kind of factor into it. So the perk updates, Soul Guard, no Mither, Boon Exponential, and Unbreakable are all getting changed because you can pick yourself up. They explain what Unbreakable does. They don't explain what the other ones do. I would assume Soul Guard still gives you, maybe it would just be the endurance status effect when you get up. Maybe without a hex now would be my guess. But I don't know. It doesn't say in here. I'm just guessing. Boon Exponential probably increases the speed. I'm sorry, my dog just sneezed behind me. If you heard that, I apologize. No Mither, I don't have any fucking clue how they're going to make this worth running at all by this point, because picking yourself up off the ground was really the only reason anyone ever ran it. Now it's just going to be bad. And then obviously they're making changes to perks that have to do with Moris. So Rancor now is just a worse version of Noed, I guess. So you can still get the aura reading, but then you just get permanent exposed on one survivor, which isn't that big of a deal. They completely butchered my poor Devour Hope. So now once 5 tokens have been earned, you still have to carry your survivor to a hook, but they'll be automatically sacrificed instead of actually getting the Mori. Which, I don't know why this was necessary. Like, I think it was still fun to have perks that had to do with Moris in the game. Like, I feel like you should still be able to Mori multiple people. But, I don't know. It is what it is. Maybe they'll revert it, but I would highly doubt that. It seems like they're pretty dead set on the way this new Mori is gonna work. And then they changed the Mori offerings. So the yellow Mori now gives you 8,000 blood points if you kill at least 2 survivors and you Mori somebody in the match. The green one, 12,000 blood points. The red one, 20,000 blood points. So that's cool. More blood points, I guess. But, like, I might as well just get a green bloody party streamer than run a red Memento Mori. So I don't know. I just feel like bummed reading this, if I'm being honest. That's kind of my overall opinion. I'm just bummed. So, who knows? Give them feedback if you can play on the PTB, and Again, I guess we're gonna have to just see how it plays out to see how good or bad any of this stuff is. So, until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your night. I'm out of here. I'll see you later.